Hello, everybody, and welcome to Company 119's The Coffee Cup. My name is Ryan Gilgerson. I'm lead creative here with Company 119, and we're very glad to have you. You know, my poor mother said I just came out of the womb talking, and I never stopped ever since. But you know what's funny is, in the industry that we're in, there's a lot of ways that you can use your voice talents to make money and have a great career. So now I talk every day on the Coffee Cup podcast, and people actually tune in, believe it or not, to hear what I have to say. Well, Christy Harst has found a way to use her voice to have a career, and I can't wait to learn more about what she does because she does voice talent and voiceovers. So, Christy, I'm really glad you could join us, and I'm so excited to talk about what it is that you do.
Thanks for having me. That was quite the intro. Very
Hey,
well done.
that's what we do. We talk, right? There's one thing I do well, and it's talk.
And
So,
you're getting paid for it, so that's great.
absolutely. It's about time, Christy. Well, you know, what you do, it's one of the very underrated pieces, I think, to bringing a brand to life. When you're good at voiceovers, when you're a great voice talent, you can change the whole reputation of a brand. I think, you know, the one I always think of, the iconic voice right now is Arby's We Have Meats or whatever it is. Like that voice changed their entire campaign. What do you bring, or what do you hope to bring to a brand that recruits you to be the voice of a spot or the voice of their marketing?
Well, I think it's important for every voice actor to bring their own personality to the script. And
Interesting.
it's super important that you understand the brand that you're trying to voice. You
Absolutely.
understand who their client is. You understand why they use that product.
Yeah.
And you try to add all of that stuff with a little bit of splash of your own personality and bring more life to the script than the client probably anticipated.
That's interesting because I think that's part of it too is they're going to give you a little bit to work with, but they're really relying on you to take it to that next level, correct?
Yeah, the voice talent is typically the last thing that is put on to the project. So there's been months of talking about the clientele, the brand, the script, making sure every I is dotted and T is crossed. There's been so many people that have reviewed the script. You know, we're the last one to get the script and we're the last one to kind of add to the project. But like you said, sometimes it can be the most important. So I think it's
Absolutely.
really important that a brand or someone who's looking for a voiceover can communicate what their brand is
Sure.
and can communicate in the proper terms, because if
Yeah.
I see a script that says, and this is no joke, I auditioned for a job that said excited yet calm.
Oh, a little bit of ambiguity there, huh?
Yeah, and so how can I do the best job possible for you if that's
Right.
the only insight you give me as to how you want the voice to be?
Interesting.
So a
Interesting.
good description for me would be conversational, girl next door,
Yeah.
bright, energetic. Or on the opposite side, maybe it's slick, professional, smooth. Those kind of things really help me interject what needs to be done in the script.
Yeah.
And also to think about scripts that you would possibly always hear on the radio, like
Sure.
um, Memorial Day sale, come in now, 9.99. But wait, there's more. If you have a script like that and you attach a description for the voice actor that says casual girl next door, no sales talk,
Yeah.
it's really hard for me to deliver that for you because the script
Absolutely.
isn't written as such.
I could see where that would be hard. Absolutely. So, do you have to have an iconic voice to be a voice talent? Like, is there one kind of voice that people are always looking for, or are there a wide variety of people who might be able to have a career in voice talent?
Yes, there is a wide variety. It depends, though, on what you want to do. There's so many different genres of voiceover out there.
Sure.
So there's animation, there's explainers, there's medical narration, there's TV commercials and radio commercials, which we all know about. There's medical narration, there's IVR, there's on hold messaging. There's
Wow.
so many different genres. So the most successful voice talent that I know focus on one lane, they perfect their craft, and they work that lane and they
Wow.
get paid very well.
That's very interesting because one of the things we talk about on our podcast is niche marketing, where we suggest that companies find a niche and go after that market. And that holds true with voice talent too. Who knew? That's really
Yeah,
cool
it
that's what we're doing.
absolutely does. It absolutely does. If you're all over the place, because one voice talent, I don't know many that can do cartoon animation, gaming, and medical narration and commercials and promos all at the same time.
Yeah, I would imagine that would get tough. So when a company reaches out to find you, tell me a little bit about the process and what the company is looking for out of a voice talent.
So there's a couple different ways that people connect with me. Either on one. So I've either worked with them before or they found me online, or I've auditioned for them via a casting site,
Mhm.
or I've auditioned for them via one of my agents. And typically, all the description is there in the audition of what they want the voice to sound like. And then most of the time, if I'm selected, they will say, "Oh, Christy, you were selected because you did this. You did A, B, and C. And we really want that to come through in the actual recording for the job."
Very
So
cool.
obviously, I'm a female, I'm not a man. So if they're looking for a female that has a certain range and I fit that bill and they listen to my demos or some of my previous work and they reach out, I'm happy to submit a sound sample and see where it goes from there. But it's usually more than just one or two people are submitting for the job.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are there any projects that we might recognize your voice from? Have we heard you on the airwaves and we never knew that was you, that type of thing? Or do other people that come up and ask you if that was you on a certain project or anything?
So once in a while, there are some things on. Recently, I did a piece for the Akron Zoo,
Very cool.
Huntington Bank. I used to do the Home and Garden Show when it was
Sure.
at the IX Center, the commercials for those. A lot of my stuff is on either coast, so it's on the West Coast or East Coast, so you probably wouldn't hear it. Also, a lot of the stuff that I do is internal or for like internal training programs
Hmm.
or on hold messaging. So, not a lot of the stuff that I do would be widely heard.
Sure. Tell me about accents because when I was in broadcasting school, it was always considered that our Midwestern accent, the Cleveland area accent, was the way that most people think Americans sound. And that's usually the way it was. We weren't too New York, we weren't too California. This Midwest dialect is kind of what most people expect their voice talent to sound like. Does that work to your advantage, especially when you're working on the coast? Does that work to your advantage that we have this Midwestern sound to our voice?
It does actually, because this part of the United States is known for having very limited accents.
Hmm.
And also, there are people who come all from all around the world to study here in Northeast Ohio to
Wow.
get rid of their accents and to
Is that
pick up
right?
our dialect. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there are a few twangs that I have every once in a while that come out, and someone
Sure.
will say, "Oh, I can tell you're from the Cleveland area," and I'll have
Yeah.
to nip it. But it doesn't happen that often. And nowadays, with accents, because of technology and because of the availability now, when a client says, "I want a West African accent,"
Sure.
it can be found. They
Wow.
don't want someone who is from Cleveland doing a Boston accent. They
Yeah.
can find a voice talent who is in Boston, who is from Boston, and can do the original Boston accent. So
Interesting.
if you have the ability to do a bunch of accents, that's great. But more than likely, unless you're native to that accent, you're
Hmm.
native to that tongue, they'd rather hire someone native.
That's really interesting how technology made an impact on that. And they can go find the real deal now. They don't have to have somebody fake it. So if you're going to
That's
do an
right.
accent, you better be really, really good at it, right?
Correct. You have to be so indiscernibly that accent that someone couldn't tell you versus a native.
Sure. Well, Christy, I want to be a famous voiceover talent, and I want to do this. I want to get into this. What's the steps that somebody would get into to start that career and try to get into voice acting?
I would first say that getting into the voiceover industry is not for the faint of heart.
Hmm.
This is a terribly, terribly tough industry. And here's
Sure.
why. The advancements in technology have allowed anyone who has a computer and a garage band and a closet to claim that they are a voiceover actor. And so when you go to a casting site and they post for a job for, I don't know, millennial 20s female, and they get 150 auditions, the majority of those auditions, and I only know this because I've talked to people who hire, are novices, are people who really haven't invested in the training, haven't invested in a quality home studio, and haven't learned how to interpret a script and read it appropriately. So the competition is stiff.
I bet.
It is very hard to differentiate yourself. And the way I differentiate myself is to do all of the things that I need to do professionally and on the up and up. So if you want to be a voiceover artist, I would first say invest in coaching. Get some training before you even do a demo, before you even think about auditioning for anything. Meet with someone who is reputable in your area and that is known for producing good talent, and coach with them a couple sessions and get their honest feedback and see what you need to work on. Most of the time, people need to spend a decent amount of time coaching before they even think about doing a demo reel.
Wow.
So once you get to that point and you are ready for a demo, your demo is the equivalent to the traditional 9 to 5 person's resume.
Yeah.
That is going to be your calling card. That is what you're going to attach to every email. That's what you're going to send out when someone asks for something. Your demo should say everything about you, your range, what you can do. So the demo is really, really important.
Yeah.
And I would say that anybody who charges less than $800 for a demo probably isn't the best demo. You should anticipate spending between $1,500 and $2,000 on a good demo.
That's amazing. And you know what? I do stuff with the music industry too, and it's the same thing. Everybody thinks you could just go and on your laptop in your bedroom and create a masterpiece album that's going to compete with people that are spending money on it. And it's the same thing here. You know, just because the technology has made it easy to do these things doesn't mean that it's made it easy to achieve quality. And that's the difference between having success and getting hired and not.
Yeah. And after you get your demo and maybe you'll send it to a couple agents, you get an agent, then you'll start getting auditions. But one thing that I think shocked me, because I've been doing this for 15 years, and the first 10, I did a lot of on-camera work and voiceover work, and it was a hobby. It was something I did in addition to my 9 to 5 traditional job. And then kids happened.
As they do.
And we decided to build out a professional broadcast quality studio in my basement. We had sound engineers come and tweak it and test it out. And the talent's there, the craft is honed, but I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that I had my own small business. I had to market myself. I had to cold call. I had to do all of these things that I didn't realize I had to do. So if you're interested into getting into voiceover, I would highly encourage you not only to do coaching, get an analysis, but then after you do all that, decide how you want to participate in voiceover. Do you want it to be a hobby? No problem. Do you want it to be just some extra cash that you can collect and go on vacation with? Great, you can do that. If you want to be full-time, realize that there is a huge commitment and that you are literally going to be a small business owner.
I love the passion that you have for it, and I love your advice. And I tell you what, I want to have you come on again and just talk about the business of branding yourself and that type of an industry, because that's the other side of this that people sometimes don't realize, that it's a lot of fun. You can do a lot of cool things, but it's really hard work. And like you said, it is a business and it's a full-time job, just like any other product that you're offering out there. So I'm going to have you on again to talk about that. For now, if people want to hear more of your work, if people want to hire you for some work and hear that demo reel that you're talking about there, where can people learn more about you and your services?
They can go to my website, which is ChristyHarst.com. That's Christy spelled CHRISTY, last name HARST. All my demos are there, as well as some of my more recent work videos I've done. And there's an easy contact form there as well. I provide free sound samples, so if you want to know how my voice would possibly match up with your script, I'd be happy to do so.
That is awesome. Christy, thank you so much. I'm fascinated by what you do and the process that you went about to get into it. Your advice was great. And like I said, we're going to have you on again. I'm holding you to it. I want you to talk to us a little bit about your branding and what you've done
Yeah,
there
no
too.
problem. Yeah, no
Awesome.
problem. I'd be happy to.
Christy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to coming back.
Awesome. So there you have it. You just learned more about voice talent and how to have your own voice actor business before you finish your first cup of coffee than your competition will all day. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon.